Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and today I want to talk about Nvidia Corp. The reason why I'm bringing up Nvidia this week is because we've got a series of really big news that's associated with Nvidia. The first and foremost is that they issued a 4-for-1 stock split that's going to be taking place this July. So what happens when that occurs is if you are the proud owner of a share of Nvidia today, right at $600, on July, I believe it's 23rd, you are going to be the proud owner of 4 shares of Nvidia at today's stock price. That would be $150 per share. The reason why I really like this for a company like Nvidia is not just for the reason of that it can entice new investors to add their money to it, investors that are looking for lower amounts of shares, but also because overall this allows for easier play on the options side. So Nvidia is a company that I've been following and trading and holding for the better part of the past 3 years, and it's easily one of my top favorite companies that are out there due to their incredible growth and profitability. One of the things that I would like to do here as someone who doesn't currently own 100 shares of Nvidia is get to the 25 shares that I would need right now so that post acquisition I'll have the capability to own 100 shares. One of the reasons why I think that would be awesome to kind of get to that point is because their premiums tend to be very, very high because Nvidia has the capability to be a big mover. And the way that you price options is generally speaking going to be around not just the volatility associated with the stock, but also some of the bullish or bearish momentum associated with it. As you can see, just looking over the past 10 days, the stock has the capability to really moving as much as $25 in a day. For that reason, I can sell covered calls on those shares and consistently generate passive income. So that's one of the reasons why I really like all of the news associated with Nvidia. The other is that they are announcing earnings later this week on May 26th. Now, Nvidia has just been absolutely stellar in their earnings runs over the past few years, and I expect that to continue going forward. They have, over the past 9 quarters, or I think it may actually be 12 at this point in time, over the past 12 quarters, they've beaten estimates every single time. And I anticipate that that is very, very possible to do in Q1 this quarter as well. Some of the things that we're going to be watching for is growth in their gaming segment, to see whether their auto segment is starting to recover from the pandemic slowdown, as well as some of the other items we'll be looking for is their overall expectation surrounding the growth in their data center business, which they really are pushing from their acquisition of Mellanox a year ago. So we've got a lot of things that we're going to be watching for Nvidia's earnings, but at the end of the day, we can expect that with analyst expectations, we're probably going to be pretty close to this level. It's just whether or not they beat or if they match earnings expectations, because this is a company that is growing incredibly fast. However, some of the news that we need to be concerned about when we're watching this is they have been in a ongoing back and forth with an ARM acquisition. So ARM being the UK's largest semiconductor company, and they would immediately add to the bottom and top line for Nvidia should that acquisition go through. However, a substantial piece of ARM is in China and will have to go through the Chinese regulatory agencies as well as the UK regulatory agencies. And if that's going to occur, then there's a lot of potential for the ARM acquisition to fall through, despite the fact that SoftBank, the current owners of ARM, seem very enthusiastic about being able to offload it to Nvidia. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any announcement associated with that, but any negative news could definitely negatively impact the stock. Some other things that could be potential headwinds associated with the overall company is the fact that they are in not just the semiconductor industry, but tech overall. And for that reason, they have these incredibly high valuations. Now, in a market that is full of overvalued companies, I definitely still recognize Nvidia is overvalued at coming in at a PE ratio of 87 and price to sales ratio of 22x sales. However, one of the reasons why they are so exciting of a stock to follow is because, one, their profitability is, as you can see across the industry, their net profit, gross profit, and operating profit margin are all well above the industry as a whole. But not only that, But from a gross profit perspective, not only is Nvidia keeping 62% of the money that they bring in, but this is a company that's growing at 52% year over year, and they're keeping 65% of that initial money. So let me highlight that. If Nvidia is to grow from $100 million in revenue to $150 million in revenue, which these are just made up numbers, not only are they growing by another $50 million, but of that $50 million, they're keeping nearly 30 million of that in straight gross profit, which is just absolutely insane. So a lot of that is getting funneled back into R&D. Some of that does get paid out in a very, very small dividend, although I personally am not looking to buy Nvidia for the dividend. And you can see that here at 64 cents a share is really only 11 basis points worth of dividend monies. So why do I like Nvidia so much? So I actually want to take us to their investor presentation to talk about why I like the company as a whole and where I see some of their opportunity going forward. So what you see here on the screen is the Nvidia Investor Day presentation representing their numbers from last year. You can see that revenue grew not an insubstantial amount, all the way up to $16.7 billion, representing 53% year-over-year growth, with their gross margin going up 310 basis points all the way up to 65.5%. And then you can see that that directly impacted their EPS, or earnings per share, immensely. So this value is going straight to the shareholders, which is pretty insane for a company this size. And I anticipate that this growth is only going to continue. These are the items that we're going to be looking for. I anticipate that the data center is going to continue to grow. And as this continues to grow, I anticipate that this is going to have a pretty heavy impact on the AMD and Intel markets going forward, especially if they can complete the ARM acquisition. It'd be nice to see if they're able to recover some of the auto portfolio going forward, because it did go down from 2020 to 2021 fiscal year. The reason for that being that all of 2020 we saw a slower auto growth in terms of sales. There were supply chain issues. It'll be interesting to see if that's begun to recover at all here in 2021, because if you see this grow not just back to 700 million but to 900 million, you're looking at a near $9 billion or a near $1 billion line of business that's being created and grown. However, as you can see, despite the fact that Pro Visualization has the capability to go back to positive and Auto has the capability to go back to positive, all in all, what we're going to be watching for is the gaming and data center segments. So what does this look like for Nvidia? Right now we've got the overall gross profit is huge on the two segments that are the largest for the company. So while we are excited about the Pro Visualization and Auto segments for the company, they still, as you can see, are relatively small in terms of the overall revenue contribution, both in 2021 as well as we look at the gross profit associated with it. So all of that is going to be, what are we looking for next? So right now they're investing heavily back into the company, and you can see that from a investing in our capabilities perspective. And then we're also going to see, are they going to be able to complete this ARM acquisition? If they do, that's going to be the huge game changer for the company. This is a company that is just incredibly and optimistically growing, and they're completely dominant in the industry. They really are eating all of their competitors' lunch, which is a great place to be in, and I want to make sure that I'm investing in winners. Albeit I'm by no means a investor advisor, and I'm just some guy on YouTube. So all of this being said, the company is stellar. The only thing that you can worry about is, are they valued too high? They're definitely going to be continuously hit by this high valuation whenever the tech sector gets pressured. However, I'm investing in Nvidia for the long term, and I anticipate that I'm going to continue aggressively targeting this company, because even though they could have a sharp pullback, I really like the options exposure that a split may provide for us. So if you find this content helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about some of the companies we invest in, check out the Discord in the description below, or drop a comment down in the comments. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks. Talk to you later.